Once upon a time, I was talking to my friend Bonacci, and we were trying to find something to do other than eat pizza. And one time Bonacci was like, hey, have you ever been longboarding before? And I hadn't, but I'd played Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2, and I figure longboarding's basically that, except minus the tricks, so it's probably pretty easy. And I was like, yeah. And he was like, oh, cool. Have you gone down the canyon? And I was like, nah, is it cool? Just trying to make conversation. And he was like, oh man, you're gonna love it. Let's go. It's not that I was trying to lie to him and pretend that I'd been longboarding when I hadn't. It's just that I didn't want to interrupt his flow of conversation. And I really didn't want to go longboarding down a canyon because that sounded scary. So me being quick-witted and thinking on my feet, I was like, oh, but I don't have a longboard. And he was like, oh, don't you worry about it. You can borrow my longboard. And he was like, check it out. I made this in 7th grade in woodshop. And I was like, wow, that thing's pretty cool. I like how it doesn't have grip tape so that you can see the wood on it. And I like that it has this crack right here because it probably makes more aerodynamic or something. He was like, yeah, it's pretty cool. So anyways, we drive up and we get to the top of the canyon. He's like, all right, follow me. Bye. And he just takes off. And I'm like, well, there's only one way I'm getting to the bottom of this hill. And it's not by driving down because he just took the car keys with him. So I get on the longboard and I'm not going to kick or anything because when Bonacci kicked and he was going really fast. So I'm just going to stand here and let gravity do its work. So anyways, I stand there and I let gravity do its work and I'm just going slowly, like 5 miles an hour or something like that. And I'm like, oh man, what a beautiful sport. There's gorgeous trees, birds are going around chirping, there's the wind in my hair. Eventually, I'm going like 10 miles per hour and I'm starting to get scared because I'm realizing like I don't know how to stop this thing if I have to. And then I was thinking about the car ride up and I'm trying to remember like, okay, well, like if I gotta stop this thing, I better just hope for a hill. And I'm like, wait, is there even an uphill? So I'm starting to get even more scared. And at this point, I'm going like 15 to 20 miles per hour because that's how gravity works. You just go faster and faster and faster. So anyways, I'm starting to slip off this longboard because it's not exactly state of the art and it doesn't have grip tape on it. Remember, he made it in 7th grade in woodshop class. He probably didn't even get an A on it. So I'm focused on trying not to fall off the longboard. I'm just like looking down on my feet and I'm like, oh my gosh, how am I gonna stop? How am I gonna stop? I look up and Bonacci stopped all of a sudden. And he's like, watch out for people. And I didn't hear anything that he really said. I knew that I was supposed to watch out for something, but I don't know what I'm supposed to watch out for. And then all of a sudden, I look ahead of me, and there's like 1,000 tourists, and they're just taking pictures of this stupid waterfall. It's not even that cool of a waterfall. And I hit the bridge, and it's like ka-gunk, and then I'm like starting to wobble, and I'm about to fall off the thing, and then I don't fall off. And this kid's like, nice save, and I'm like, thanks, buddy. And so eventually we hit this flat part and we can roll to a stop and I do this like putt, putt, putt thing as I set down my feet. It's how you stop if you don't know how to stop on a longboard. And so I'm doing this and then eventually I come to a stop and Bonacci comes up and he's like, cool, we're past the boring part, so now we're getting to the fun part. And I'm like thinking like, are you kidding me? That was terrifying. I almost died over there. Like, you're just saying that because you're on the good longboard. If you had to ride on my piece of crap longboard, you wouldn't be saying the same thing. Well, I didn't actually say that. I was thinking that, but I should have said it. But then Bonacci was like, do you want to switch longboards? And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, sure, whatever. So we swap longboards and the difference is night and day. It's like riding on a cloud. And I'm just like enjoying it. I'm cruising, I'm breezing, and then Bonacci, pew, he flies past me. He's like, follow me. So I'm following right behind him, and out of nowhere, he takes this sharp turn, like he's going onto a hidden level or something like that. And I'm thinking like, can I make that turn? I'm like, no, I can't make it. I'm going too fast. And I'm like, well, he made it, and he's on a piece of crap longboard. And if he can make it, I can make it. So I was like, whatever, I can do this. I just gotta believe in myself. So I lean into it and I take the turn, and I guess I didn't lean hard enough because next thing I know, my back wheel snags. I go flying off of that thing. Eventually I slammed. Next thing I know, like I wake up and I'm looking down. My palms and my arm and like my elbow, and my hip was bleeding, and like my pants weren't ripped, but for some reason my knees were bleeding underneath that. Long scratch on my thigh, and like my shoulder was bleeding too. All these new rips in my shirt, and like I couldn't like hear out of my ear for some reason. I probably got a concussion. So I'm sitting there, and once I get over the shock, I'm like, man, my friends are gonna think I'm freaking awesome when I like come back to school and I show them my scars, and I tell them that I wrecked longboarding down a canyon. Like, how much cooler can you be? And on top of that, chicks dig scars. So I'm probably gonna get a girlfriend or something out of this. And I'm looking at my shirt, and it's all like ripped up and stuff in the back, and I'm just thinking about how much money I saved on ripping the shirt. Ripping the shirt on my own instead of buying it at Buckle or something. My new favorite shirt, and I'm like, I'm never gonna get rid of you. And I figured I should get to the bottom to scrub these rocks out of my arm before something happens. I don't know what happens when something gets infected, but I know something happens. There's only one way down this hill. And I look at the longboard, and it seems to be working fine. And I look at these scabs, and I'm just thinking like, boy, I better not crash again.